A lot of us, we grieve from the trauma that we've gone through. Like we react to grief based off the traumatic things that we've gone through or the lack of things that we have gone through. And who we attach our emotions to other people's emotions and make the assumption they should feel the same way you feel and deal with it the same way you're dealing with it, simply because this is how I'm doing it and it's right. Okay, so we're going to talk about ways to help someone through the grieving process, because sometimes we think that we're helping and we're not. And that makes us feel, everybody in the room feel frustrated, right? Because none of us are really taught how to help a person when they're grieving. A lot of us have been taught how to shut down grieving. We've been taught how to condemn a person who's grieving. We've been taught how to cross boundaries. We've been taught how to humiliate people when they're grieving. We've been taught how to pacify people when they're grieving, but we don't always get to learn how to help a person who is going through a grieving process. I just feel like talking about grieving is so cathartic and it's so healthy, because a lot of us don't talk about the difficulties that we've gone through. A lot of us feel like we have to lock those things away because judgment is coming. We all know that somebody's going to judge you for how you feel or what you've gone through. And so I'm just going to do 10 tips on how to help a person who's going through a grieving process. All of these tips may not help. 1 may help. 4 may help. The person may tell you to shut the fuck up and they don't have time for it. And I say, okay, because that's how they are grieving. You can't push your ideas about how they need to grieve on them. You can make suggestions and see if it works. But sometimes people have gone through so much and they're going to continue to go through so much that they're never going to be able to fully absorb the process of grieving because they don't have time, they don't have space, they don't have the luxury or the privilege to do so. So here are 10 tips to helping someone through the grieving process. These are just general. There are so many more, but we're just going to focus on these. Listening actively. When you listen to someone actively, you try to stay in the moment. You try to make sure that you are present, that you use compassion. You don't interrupt them. You let them finish their full story. You let them go through all the ranges of emotions, even when you feel uncomfortable, because you helping someone else get through the grieving process may trigger you. But it's not about you. You are not the main character in this story. You're not even a supporting character in this story. You are just giving them tools and sitting with them to make sure that they are as comfortable and that they have some kind of safe net when they are expressing themselves and when they're talking to themselves. Active listening means that you don't talk when someone else is talking, period. Offer practical support. Maybe all you can do is run errands. Maybe you can help clean the house. Maybe you can cook food. Maybe you can pick the kids up for them. Maybe you can walk the dog, feed the cat. Maybe you are the person who may respond to the emails, or you may respond to text messages to give the person who is grieving reprieve so that they have a moment to really take a deep breath and figure out what their next steps are. Be patient. Grieving is not linear, okay? You're going to feel like it's so much going on. And you're going to feel like one day the person is moving so fast and they're trying to get everything done. The next day, you're going to feel like they're moving so slow and they're never going to get past it. You may hit a month where they don't even talk about the thing that's happening and they ask you not to do that, and you walk in one day and you're hit with all of their emotions. Be patient with a person, because we don't know what they're going through. We don't know, even if we've gone through a grieving process, everybody, they absorb and emote emotions so very differently, and they take in what's happening around them so very differently. So really just have as much patience as possible. Encourage expression, right? Maybe they want to paint, maybe they want to sing at the top of their lungs, maybe they're just angry and they want to sit out in the back and smash shit. Maybe they feel so melancholy and they just need you to sit in the room and be quiet with them. They don't really want you to talk. They want your presence. They just want to know that somebody in this space understands what I'm going through, and they want you to just be with them. And for some people, silence is so loud, and it is almost impossible for them to do that. Respect their space. They may tell you that they don't want to see anybody, including you. And for some people, that's a trigger, right? Because I want to be here for you. I am not the main character in this movie. They are the main character in this movie. They dictate who, what, where, when, and how the space is used. Make sure that you aren't violating any boundaries. That when they ask you to be there, if you have time, you show up. If you don't have time, you explain why you don't have time, and you let them know I can be there at this time, and you allow them to kind of play back and forth with the schedule to see what it is. But remember, you have to also take care of yourself. And if you are emotionally invested in this and you don't know how to separate your feelings from their feelings, it could also trigger you again. Share memories. Talk about the good times. Talk about the fucked up times. Talk about the person in as many ways as possible, so that everybody gets the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, the hilarious, the oh no they didn't, the shocker. Just share as many memories as possible. If you talk about the loss, or you talk about the person, it can feel like they're still with you. You can feel their spirit. It may help you laugh a little. And sometimes when you're so caught up in your emotions, a hearty laugh will like decompress some of that steam that's building. Try to avoid cliches. Try to avoid saying they're in a better place. Try to avoid saying time will heal all wounds. Try to avoid saying now they don't have to suffer. Try to avoid saying now you can move on with your life. We've all been there. We've all said those things. Instead, say, I'm here for you. You just let me know what you need from me. Or your feelings are valid. It's okay that you feel that way. Or you may just say, hey, I'm going to go in the kitchen and finish the dishes while you sit here and just relax a little bit. And if you need me, or you want to talk, or you just need somebody to sit with you, just let me know. Hey, I'm going to run and get the kids for you, so you don't have to focus on that right now. I want to make sure that you can take care of a few things that you need to take care of. Call and say, hey, I know you haven't been out the house in a few days. Do you want to run some errands? I'll come sit with the kids. I'll come sit with the dog while you get that thing taken care of. Sometimes just changing the way you phrase things can help a person feel less attacked and less claustrophobic and less smothered. And it'll give them a chance to empower themselves, answer the question, and keep moving. Encourage professional help. If you see your person just kind of having a moment where they feel a little lost, more than they've been, or maybe they're in a space where they can open up a little bit more, suggest therapy. You can suggest grief support. You can suggest maybe a hotline that supports people who are grieving the loss of someone. Maybe you can find a therapist, send a couple of them talk to a few people, narrow a couple things down, and just send them, and don't ask any more questions. Don't harp on it. Don't continuously bother the person. Give them a chance to really like understand what the fuck is happening. Stay connected. Grieving feels isolating because you feel like everything that's happening to you, it's never happened to anybody else, especially when it's something that's so super close to you. Grieving can feel like you're on a planet by yourself, or it feels like you're on the planet by yourself and the world is fucking moving and you just need them to slow down so you can get your shit together. And you may never be able to fully feel like you got your shit together, but like doing regular check-ins, again, you can visit them, FaceTime, Instagram, TikToks, just send them a meme, send them some food that makes them happy. Maybe you want to send them flowers. Maybe you want to mail them a card. Give them a chance to absorb what you're trying to do. Give them a chance to feel how authentic your check-ins are. And do things that remind them that they're not alone, and that you understand that what they're going through is not the same as what you've gone through, but that you're here in the commonality, that you want to help them feel better and that you want to be here to listen to them while they're going through something. Show unconditional love. Above everything that's happening, above every damn thing that's happening, love the person that you're helping go through the grieving process unconditionally, right? You want to show sympathy, empathy, emotional intelligence. You want to be there to comfort them, to let them know that you're a lifeline. Because what good is any of this help if it comes with conditions attached to it? If you're only going to be able to do this for a week, if you're only there to say that I told you I was trying to help, if you are the kind of person that be like, if you can't get over it, like, how the fuck am I supposed to help you? Why are you here? What? And most of all, create safe spaces for people who are grieving. Create spaces that are free of judgment, that allow open communication, where they can express their feelings, where they feel respected and heard and listened to, where they have space to move their bodies and to grieve with their whole being. When you are in the middle of the grieving process, and it could be the moment that something bad happens, it could be 6 months, it could be 6 weeks, it could be a year, it could be 5 years, it could be 20 years. When you finally get to a place where you can allow yourself to grieve, you will grieve with every hair follicle, you will grieve with every toe, you will grieve with every organ in your body, you will grieve with every atom, with every cell, with everything that's in your body. It will need to purge all of those memories. It will re-trigger what you've experienced. It'll also sometimes morph the story, so you have to stay present. You have to remember that you're here, because what grief has a wonderful way of doing, and I'm being sarcastic, is that it can change your idea about how the story happened. It can change your mind and convince you that things happened that didn't happen. It can also make you forget about things that happened that you need to address, but because you were in such turmoil, your fight or flight kicked in. And if you're like me, I'm a fighter, okay? But part of my fighting is that it disassociates itself from the fucking actual reason why we need to deal with this shit, right? Because my brain just says, hey, we're not going to deal with this right now, because if we deal with this right now, we're going to possibly mess up some relationships. We're definitely going to say some things that we're not supposed to say. And there's a possibility you could throw some stuff, and that's not where you want to be. But you may get to a place where you need to address things that have happened. You may need to address certain actions. You may need to address certain emotions about yourself and or others. So like creating safe spaces where you have open dialogue and you can articulate your emotions and you can feel everything that you have in you, and you can respect different people and how they heal and how they deal with grief, but you can be as honest as you can, and that your physical being is safe, that your stress and your cortisol levels are lower so that your organs aren't completely affected by the stress that you're going through. And again, that is a privilege, that is a luxury that a lot of people don't have, but it really can help set a precedent for how you're supposed to grieve and how you deal with grieving, so that the next time you go through something like this, you have a few tools in your mental health toolbox to be able to cope. Because that's, at the end of the day, you're going to have a lot of these emotions on a continuous basis. It may be 5 years, 10 years. As we get older, the longer we live, we're going to experience so many things. So learning how to cope through grieving, learning how to sit there. Because let me tell you something, it is something very interesting about sitting in a pocket with someone who is grieving and not saying anything, just being the wall of support, providing honest energy, being able to open up your soul and having your chakra wrap around another person, like learning how to grieve for them, but follow their path. Like, it takes a lot to be able to do that, because a lot of us, we grieve from the trauma that we've gone through. Like we react to grief based off the traumatic things that we've gone through, or the lack of things that we have gone through. And we attach our emotions to other people's emotions and make the assumption they should feel the same way you feel and deal with it the same way you're dealing with it, simply because this is how I'm doing it and it's right. There is no right or wrong way to grieve, as long as you're getting it out and you are not causing yourself to be in a space where you feel like expiring is the only way out. And honestly, real talk, I fully fucking understand why people feel like that expiring is the only way out. I would lie to you if I told you that there's no reason to understand that. You have to broaden your horizon and understand that even though you would not do it, judging another person for wanting to, talking about, considering, and or doing it is just as detrimental as you pulling the trigger yourself. Nobody wants to continuously hurt. And some people will never get to a place where they can grieve enough to heal. And you have to understand that. And even if you don't like it, it's still their boundaries in their life and how they want to handle things. And that is our place as the people who love them to walk with them and to help them get to a place where they feel like, okay, maybe I can accept this, or hey, I love you, but I can't accept this. And you just say, I love you. I'm here for you. You let me know what I need to do for you. And you walk away. And that shit is hard, okay? It's fucking hard. But being able to be in somebody's presence when they're grieving, being able to being able to receive the blessing of someone's vulnerability, being able to be in a space where somebody trusts you enough to be open, to lay their soul bare and have you be a part of that. Shit, it's almost nothing more intimate than that. It really isn't. So that's what we worked on today. Ways to support people who are grieving or a loved one who is going through grief. It can be hard, but I feel like with a lot of support, we all can be there for each other. So you be good to you, and you be good to them, and be good to others. Bye.